Hey guys, in this video, I am taking you through a full exterior winter wash on a maintenance client vehicle of mine that is ceramic coated, and I'm using no water to do it. What's going on, guys? Luke here. I'm a pro detailer based out of Nashville, Tennessee. I don't want to waste your time, so let's go ahead and jump into the actual winter wash here and talk about why I'm not using water and why I'm doing it with the particular tools that I'm using. So you guys have seen this particular Mini Cooper on the channel many a times because it's a vehicle that I've taken care of for years now on almost a weekly basis. This particular vehicle is ceramic coated. Now, the first thing that I want to walk through is how I'm detailing out the wheels, the tires, and the wheel wells without any water using the Tornador, a couple different brushes, and my microfiber towel, and of course my air compressor. It's important to understand that the strategies that I'm talking about here work best with a ceramic coated vehicle or a maintenance client, basically a vehicle that doesn't get too dirty. Now, the other thing that makes these particular wheels, tires, and wheel wells difficult is that the wheel wells are actually coated in that fabric, and so you might be thinking there's no way to clean these without water, but let me explain how I'm doing it. The first thing I want to do is take my air compressor and spray it into the wheel wells. I basically just want to blow out any leaves, excess debris, anything that will come off with some pointed air. After I blow that air in the wheel well, I'm going to take my long handle wheel well brush dry with no water, and I'm going to start scrubbing. The reason I'm doing that is because on a fabric wheel well like this, once you get it wet, you are going to in some ways kind of lock in some of that dirt. So I'm not getting it wet. I'm just using the bristles from that brush to knock off any loose debris that I can. Now, this is where I bring in the Tornador. I'm going to switch it to on where there's air and water blowing through it, and I'm going to lightly mist the exposed part of the wheel wells. When I say exposed part, what I mean is that front area that you can see and the back area that you can see. I'm not going to be cleaning and detailing out that top area that you cannot see. There are certain trade-offs that have to happen if you're detailing in the wintertime without water because it's really cold outside. This is one of those trade-offs. I'm going to wait until it warms up to detail out that area that you can't necessarily see, making sure that the area that is something that affects the visual appeal of the detail gets detailed out. When I use that light mist, I'm then going to spray some degreaser up there, about 5-to-1 super clean degreaser, a very light mist. I'm going to take my Tornador back in there with some water to give it a little bit of water to move around in that fabric with, and then I'm going to take either my brush or my microfiber towel, and I'm going to scrub literally by hand with that microfiber towel or with that brush and start to let that degreaser work. What you need to understand is that in the same way that you might clean a carpet from the floorboard on the interior without extracting it and rinsing it all the way, so you are leaving in some sense some dirt in that carpet, but you're fixing the visual appeal, you're fixing the thing that looks wrong. That's what we're doing here with the wheel wells. There is still dirt and debris in that wheel well, but I'm not taking care of all of that because I'm gonna wait till springtime rolls around where I wanna roll out my cold water and it's not cold outside, so don't ruin my hands and ruin my detailing experience. The car's gonna be totally fine, it's gonna be totally maintained all winter, and I'm gonna use that water when it's warmer outside, but I don't have that luxury right now. So right now I'm fixing the visual appeal, and I think that's kind of analogous to what we sometimes do in the interior with carpets. So after I finish scrubbing with my microfiber towel, I'm gonna take my Tornador, turn on the water and air mode as well as just the air mode to kind of blow out finally that area that's just sitting where you can see in the front and the back, making sure that really all the main debris is gone until it just looks like that black fabric, and then I'm gonna leave it alone. Moving from that point, I'm gonna take my Tornador, I'm gonna spray some water on the wheel face as well as the sidewall of the tire. It's important to understand that I'm not going to be detailing out the inner barrel of the wheel. Once again, this is a trade-off made when you're not using any water. Because this vehicle is maintained on a regular basis, that brake dust is not going to have any time this winter to really corrode into that inner barrel of the wheel, and it's also ceramic coated. If you really did want to spend that extra time detailing out the inner barrel, yes, you could technically get your hand back there, but I am not doing that. I'm going to spray some 5-to-1 degreaser on the sidewall of the tire, let it sit for just a second, and I'm going to take my Tornador with that water mode on as well as my microfiber towel, and I'm just going to start scrubbing. The funny part about this is that while the Tornador doesn't shoot out some crazy high PSI, for whatever reason, the vortex motion of that air and water do actually serve to make a really easy and effective cleaning experience with the sidewall of the tire because of all those nooks and crannies and kind of the tread that exists on the tires where dirt builds up. In the same way that the pressure from a pressure washer gets into all those areas, the Tornador tends to do that as well. So it really flushes out those areas that you wouldn't be able to get in with your hand at all. So I can just kind of do the grunt work with the microfiber towel in my hand, scrubbing the face of the wheel, letting the Tornador get into all those tiny little crevices. And I've said this at different points in different videos, but most videos you see about the Tornador, I think, are not very conducive for professional detailers. So I try to implement this tool to share with you guys how I actually use it in real life situations to make my cleaning more effective. This is one of those areas. Now, after I have finished detailing out the sidewall of the tire, I'm going to move to the wheel. Once again, it's just the face of the wheel. I spray my favorite wheel cleaner onto the face of the wheel. I'm not using an acidic wheel cleaner. This is just an alkaline wheel cleaner. This could be Meguiar's wheel and tire cleaner diluted 5-to-1-ish. That's kind of what I prefer when I'm reaching for an alkaline wheel cleaner. So I'm going to take my Tornador, my microfiber towel, and my detailing detailing brush when I need to get into those really tight areas like the lug nuts, and I'm just going to be using that Tornador to spray some free-flowing water, rinsing the wheel as I agitate the brake dust and the cleaner with my microfiber towel, and I just go around each spoke of the wheel and the entire face until it's completely finished. And then I'm going to take the air mode of the Tornador and blow it out, making sure that I blow the water into the wheel so it actually drips away, because if I let it drip on the face of the wheel, I'm going to carry some of that brake dust from the inner barrel onto the face when it dries, and it's not going to look totally clean. Now when I finish with the wheels, tires, and the wheel wells, I'm going to move to the paint, and I'm using a 2-bucket rinseless wash method here that I want to explain. In the first bucket, I've filled it up about halfway with deionized water, and I've got some Optimum No Rinse in it. The second bucket is just basic deionized water. There's nothing in it. That's going to be my rinsing bucket. I'm also using this big yellow sponge that almost looks like a really divided tic-tac-toe board. Essentially, this is designed to kind of capture some of the dirt, put it into the center of the sponge so you're not dragging a bunch of dirt across the face of the sponge. So this can be a really effective way to do a rinseless method if you're wanting to use a sponge, because it does kind of make the rinseless method more effective as you're able to use more solution and therefore get more lubricity as you pull the sponge across the paint. So I'm going to dip my sponge in, make sure I rinse it out well, and make sure that I get plenty of solution and water in the sponge. And I'm going to basically take that sponge to the paint, to the windows, basically everything except for the black trim. Now this is a pretty basic rinseless wash method, but you guys should understand that this is a really great way not to get your hands too cold and use a bunch of free-flowing water in 30-degree weather in the wintertime. A rinseless method is one of my favorite things to do. I'm implementing the Tornador when I go around really tight, kind of skinny, hard to reach areas, like where the door and the window meet or behind the side view mirror. Any tight area where it's hard to get in with the sponge or it's hard to get in with my solution, I can actually use the Tornador to help rinse that area out as if I have free-flowing water, not implementing too much water where my rinseless method becomes a big drying mess, but it becomes kind of the perfect tool to get into these tight areas because my sponge isn't going to fit perfectly in there and I don't want to utilize a bunch of different microfiber towels. So this is once again a great way to introduce free-flowing water without necessarily introducing free-flowing water. Not to mention that the vortex nature of the way the Tornador blows out the water in the air makes it a really effective rinsing tool because it'll drag a bunch of that dirt with it, blasting it out of those tight areas. Now at the same time, I can take the Tornador when I'm rinsing those tight areas that are also difficult to dry, and as I'm drying and pulling my drying towel across the paint and the windows, drying off that rinseless wash, I can turn to the air mode only and I can blow out those tight areas where maybe some black trim accents are. Now another really important area to highlight as I'm doing this rinseless wash is the front grille, because some of you might be thinking, listen, I'm dealing with some really nasty cars in the wintertime and a rinseless method doesn't really help me. The fact is, if you're dealing with a really nasty car and it's overly dirty, this might not be the method for you, but there are ways to get around some of that heavy dirt. For example, on this car, even though it is maintained on a regular basis and it's pretty clean, that front grille area is really dirty. So I will take some cleaning solution, spray it in some of those really tight black trim front grille areas, let it sit for a second, then take my Tornador and start blasting the air and blasting the water in that front grille as a sort of pre-foam, pre-wash stage before I take my sponge and my rinseless wash to that area. It's a great way to start knocking off the dirt before I take my sponge, which I'm going to take to the rest of the car, to that area. Then of course I take my sponge there, clean it out, use the Tornador to rinse once again and make sure that I blow out the remaining debris, and then I'll take my drying towel and clean the rest of that rinseless wash off of that area. Now in terms of the final cleaning, I'm going to take some Super Clean Degreaser 5:10:1 dilution ratio, spray it on those lower rocker panels and lower black trim, and basically scrub with my Tornador and my microfiber towel those areas, blowing down, making sure the debris that really collects a lot there from the road just blows down onto the driveway rather than anywhere else on the car. And the Tornador really helps give some free-flowing water to those areas because those areas are the dirtiest on the car, and so it helps to have that water implemented there. So hopefully this helps you guys understand some real-world scenarios where the Tornador actually helps and doesn't waste your time. Now finally, because this car is ceramic coated and maintained regularly, I don't have to clay bar it or anything like that. I can go in, I can use my Meguiar's Synthetic Express Spray Wax, I can use my Technician's Choice, I can use whatever topper that I want to put on and make sure that I wax it, seal it, whatever I want to do to make sure that ceramic coating stays even that much more protected this winter. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my Stoner More Shine Tire Shine, or I could use something like Chemical Guys VRP diluted 5:1 or Meguiar's Hyper Dressing, and I just want to dress the tires and dress the black trim. A quick note to help you guys understand a little bit more about this waterless wash. When I'm dressing the black trim and I'm dressing the tires, of course when I cleaned those areas, I didn't get it 100% perfectly, and if you were to compare it directly to a wash that I do here with water, with a pressure washer, the pressure washer is obviously going to make it way easier for me to get all of the debris off. Well, if I'm in a situation like this where I can't do that, putting that dressing on top of all of this is a really good way to mask any sort of uneven appearance that might be there because of some area like those lower black trim rocker panels that collect a ton of dirt that you couldn't get 100% off, but maybe you got not 90% off. That dressing is going to help cover that, and that dirt that it covers is not going to damage anything. It's gonna be fine to wash off next time or in the springtime when things warm up. So this is just a way to kind of dress things and get that uniform appearance when you're working with the limitations of a waterless and no free-flowing water winter wash. So guys, as we look at the final result here, you can see that the car looks absolutely fantastic. And yes, it takes a little bit more time to do things this way, and absolutely it is more inconvenient. But for those of you who are mobile and you're working in the wintertime, there are situations like this where you just have to work within limitations, and this is a really effective kind of step-by-step video to teach you how to do that. Of course, if you guys want to pick up any of the tools or products like the Tornador or Super Clean Degreaser or Optimum No Rinse or anything I used in this video, I'll link all those products and tools up in the YouTube description box below. And if you guys are looking for kind of the best tools and products to pick in the detailing world because you don't want to waste money on stuff that doesn't work, I've got a top 12 tools and products list for any detailer starting out or who just wants to up their game, also listed in the YouTube description box below, totally free to you. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you got some value from this video and you're gonna start implementing some of this stuff in your detailing business this winter, make sure to hit the thumbs up button so that I know this actually helped you and I can continue to put out content just like this. And as always, from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, thank you for being involved. Keep working hard, and I'll see you guys in the next video.